This morning, fabric supply stores are struggling to get supplies in a timely fashion, some even having to close their doors.
Alyssa Heron joining us in the newsroom this morning with more on this story. Alyssa.
Good morning. Well, I had a chance to catch up with a modern quilt boutique in West Michigan to get an in-depth look at the challenges they're facing.
Fabric and notions and quilting supplies and patterns with kind of a modern take on some of the classics.
Savasana Quilts making it easy to add that pop of color and much needed cheer to face masks during the pandemic.
Probably have close to 1,000 bolts of fabric.
They even had fabric with special patterns on it for easy mask making.
Solids were flying out the door. Black and white specifically sold out almost immediately. And one of the things that happened, I believe, is that once companies started to realize, oh wait, masking is going to be huge, they jumped the queue to this in the supply chain and ordered as much kind of black and white fabric as they could get their hands on.
And that's when the shortages began, an unfortunate circumstance for Savasana Quilts, who'd only been open for a little over a year.
So as a entrepreneur, business owner, just kind of starting from the ground up, that definitely altered our trajectory of growth quite a bit.
And before she knew it, owner Abigail Jansen was forced to close her doors during the shutdown in March of 2020, but quickly pivoted her business online, putting in 50 hours a week.
I ended up working more hours here personally because I was working to drive online sales. That's basically what ended up keeping the lights on for us, was I was able to market not only to existing customers, but continue to grow kind of my online customer base.
Jansen was finally able to open her doors back up in July, but is continuing to experience those bumps in the supply chain.
Because of the increased demand for fabric for mask making, even though they're just small bits of fabric basically, it has really driven up the demand and it has outpaced the supply.
And that led to increased prices. In fact, Jansen tells us that recently one of her fabric manufacturers providing high-quality cottons had raised theirs by about 30%.
Thankfully, my prices, what I have to pay, is not going up quite that much. Some of the stuff I've already got orders in for, and anything I'm ordering from here on out is going to be a good 10% higher on my end, which I have to kind of figure out how to balance that out so I can stay open.
But delays are just making things more difficult.
When things do ship, they kind of tend to bottleneck and then come out. So it has created a big challenge for cash flow management. All of a sudden, I have 2 or 3 months worth of ordering that has shipped within the span of 2 weeks.
Which is worrisome for Jansen, as she's doing everything she can to keep her doors open and continue to serve the community.
It's hard to figure out how to balance wanting to maintain market share and kind of our crafting community and wanting to be fair to the customers, but also trying to balance that with the fact that I do have to pay rent, I do have to pay the utilities, so I want to be welcoming and open and supportive to the creative community, but there's also a balance there because it is expensive to have a retail space.
Now, Abby tells us that the good that came out of this was actually growing her online presence and reaching out to new people, and wanted to just remind everyone to continue to shop at local businesses online. Just because they're in town and smaller doesn't mean they won't have an online presence. For now, live in the newsroom, Alyssa Heron, Fox 17 News.